power of Swami Vivekananda's message. Almost all of us are aware about Swamiji and his message. And all of us have felt, when we go through his message, a power, a strength takes possession of us. Though it is for a short time sometimes, because we are not able to meditate on that. But definitely we all feel that there is something very special in the message of Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda, though had a human form, about 6 feet tall, but his real nature was very tall, as if his head was held to touch the sky. He was so immense, so great. We know the power behind his message, why he was so powerful. Never any weakness touched him. He was full of strength and hope and positivity. And the speciality about Swami Vivekananda is, he could infuse that power, that strength, that positivity to others through his speech, through his contact. And his message is so powerful. It is not that when he was in his physical form, that he could inspire others. But even now, he passed away almost 106 years ago. But still we feel when we read the power coming to us. You might have felt when Avijit was reading from his complete works, the book called out from complete works called Talks with Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda, when he first met Sri Ramakrishna, Sri Ramakrishna said, "You are Narayana in the form of human being. You are not just human being, you are so great. You are Lord himself and have come to do good to the world, to take away the misery of the world." Swamiji was a boy of 19, 20 years of age. And he says, what this man is saying, he seems to be a good man, but seems to be a crazy, mad man. I am a son of Vishwanath Datta, a university-going student, and he says he is Narayana. He was not aware of his power at that time. And during conversation when Narendranath was sitting, Sri Ramakrishna, who could see the inside of a human being, like a thing kept in a glass case, he said, Narendranath is like a huge reservoir, whereas other persons seem to me like small pots. Some are like big jars, but Narendranath is like an ocean. Other human beings are like fish, small fish. Narendra is a big rohu fish, red-eyed rohu fish. Others are like flowers with few petals, 5, 10, 20 petals. Narendranath is 1,000-petal lotus. So vast was his power that Sri Ramakrishna could see, which Narendranath was not aware and nobody else was aware. Narendranath came with that power with particular purpose. Later Narendranath was aware. when he had finished his work, and in Berulmat, during his last day, he said, if there was another Vivekananda, he could know what this Vivekananda has done. His active life of preaching, inspiring, his life of guiding others, life of guruship, was only about a decade. And in his short life of 39 plus years, he gave so much to the humanity that he himself said, whatever I have given in this short life, it will go on working for at least 1,500 years. That was the power unleashed. What was the source behind that power? Behind the power of Swami Vivekananda was the realization of the truths of Vedanta, which says each soul is potentially divine, divinity of the soul. He realized that. He realized that his soul is divine, every soul is divine. Swami Vivekananda realized another truth of Vedanta, that oneness of existence. All existence is in fact one. It seems many, but in reality it is one. Unity of Godhead. There is one God whose name are different, whose method of worship are different. And he realized that there are so many religions, so many faiths, but all lead to the same goal, harmony of faith. These four basic truths of Vedanta, divinity of soul, oneness of existence, unity of Godhead, and harmony of religions, Swami Vivekananda had realized it. That's why his speech, his message is so powerful. When he says about a human being and wants to raise a human being, he said that what infinite power you have. And he could perceive that power in another person. He could just rouse it. Swami Sri Ramakrishna used to say, let no one judge Naren. No one will ever be able to understand him fully. In meditation mantra, Swami Vivekananda is described as Loka Kalyana Karinam. What is his purpose of Advent? One purpose, to do good to the world. Swami Saradananda, his own brother disciple, equal in the footing as in his relation to his guru. Swami Saradananda says, Dharma Sthapana Rata. Swami Vivekananda is always engaged, always busy in re-establishing the Dharma. In another verse it says, Tapaharina. Swamiji removes the miseries, the sufferings of people. Swami Vivekananda was dynamo of power. Just we need to approach him. And we feel that dynamo. When we reach near a fire, we feel heat. Just we need to reach near Swami Vivekananda and we feel power coming to us. Swami Vivekananda was so much aware of his power that came through his realization of oneness with Brahman and also through the commandments of Sri Ramakrishna. You remember how during Sri Ramakrishna's last days, when Swami Vivekananda went to Sri Ramakrishna in Kasipur, he touched him and Swamiji lost outer consciousness. When he regained and opened his eyes, he saw Sri Ramakrishna shedding tears, tears of joy. And what he said, I have given you everything that I had. all the power that I accumulated through spiritual practice, and I have become fakir. I have become a penniless person. All power was transferred to Swami Vivekananda by Sri Ramakrishna. The power that, by the wish of Divine Mother, came in Sri Ramakrishna to do good to the world, all went to Swami Vivekananda. Then he started becoming aware of the purpose of his life. When he asked Sri Ramakrishna, and Sri Ramakrishna asked him, "What do you want?" He said, "I want to remain in Samadhi. I want to enjoy the bliss of Samadhi, and sometime, long time in Samadhi, maybe sometime I need to come down from Samadhi to eat something, just to keep the body, and then again go into Samadhi." That was the highest thing a guru can hear from a disciple. One wants to be always merged in God. Sri Ramakrishna should be so happy. But what he says, "What a mean mind you have. I thought you will be like a big banyan tree under whose shade millions of people will come and will be saved from the scorching heat of the world, from the suffering, from the miseries. And you yourself want the joy and peace of God? That is not to you." And he gave in writing, "Narendra will teach. He will teach at home and abroad." That was Sri Ramakrishna gave in writing. There was no other way. Narendra came for this purpose. His birth was for this purpose. He said, he wrote in a letter, "Read my letters and make others read. They will get the inspiration." He was aware. For he knew that what he is writing, it is not he. It is the power of God that is making him write the letters, that is making him give the speeches, and he was fully aware the power that was behind himself. Before coming to Parliament itself, he had said to one of his brother disciples, "I feel that the Parliament of Religions is being made, arranged for this, for him," he was saying. After that also so many Parliament of Religions take place, but we never hear of anything. It was meant as it were, the world will listen to these great words through this big congregation of Parliament of Religions from Swami Vivekananda. His message was needed for the whole world as it was needed for India. The ego of the message given in US, in the West, goes to US, India, and India starts thinking in a different way. People started thinking, yes, we are also men among men. We are also a country, nation among the nations. And self-confidence, self-respect starts coming to an enslaved nation. And it didn't take much time, not even 50 years after Swamiji had spoken, to get the country political freedom. Chakravarti Rajagopalachari was the first and last Indian Governor General of India. He told, if there was no Swami Vivekananda, we would have lost our religion, Hinduism, and we would not have got freedom. Swami Mahatma Gandhi himself told, after reading Swami Vivekananda, the love for my country increased 1,000-fold. That was the power. There were freedom fighters when they were caught by Britishers in India. They had two books, one Gita, another complete works of Swami Vivekananda. So much of inspiration. Whoever reads his message, his books, just gets inspiration in that field. One wants to become a sannyasin, Swami Vivekananda inspires. One wants to become freedom fighter, Swami Vivekananda inspires. Because Swamiji's words are the words of Vedanta. And Swamiji himself says, Vedanta tends to make a person a better person by having the knowledge of Vedanta. A cobbler will be a better cobbler, a teacher will be a better teacher, a politician will be a better politician, a Christian will be a better Christian, a Hindu a better Hindu. That is the message of Vedanta, making world good. Loka kalyana kalinam. Swami Vivekananda said, when he was in the picture, how much power he felt in him. He said, when I stand on the platform, a power comes over me, which makes me feel as though by one word, I carry the whole audience of thousands across Maya and make them break the prison wall of I and mine. People need to have how many lives of practice to break this wall of I and mine, and Swamiji feels he has that power who can release the people from the ignorance of birth after birth. He felt that. Martha Brown Fink, who met Swami Vivekananda in November 1893 at Northampton, Massachusetts, reminisces about seeing the Swami for the first time. The face with its inexpressible expression, the eyes so full of flashing light, and the whole emanation of power are beyond description. To me, that night, he personified power. Swami Ramtirth writes about his impressions of Swami Vivekananda's enlightening power when he heard Swamiji's lecture on Vedanta in Lahore. The listeners were so deeply engrossed, and it created such an atmosphere that all idea of time and space was lost. At times one acquired absolute realization of oneness between oneself and the cosmic Atman. That was the power of Swamiji. He could just remove the veil of ignorance just by his presence, just by his few words. Swami Vivekananda could remove misery by infusing spiritual consciousness in human beings. His words were so powerful. Here is the story of Madame Emma Calvé, the celebrated singer of her times. Madame Calvé had some tragic incidents in her life. She was terribly shaken. And she came to Swami. Someone said there is a yogi from India who can give you peace. Swamiji was in his study. Someone ushered her in the study. And she came in. Swami Vivekananda did not lift his head. He did not look at Madame Emma Calvé. And he started telling her life, what had happened all in her past, everything. She was surprised. How this person could know the deep secrets of my life, which I have never told anyone. And she was puzzled and asked him how he could know her life. Swamiji smiled and said, I read you as an open book, the power in him. From her memoirs of Swami Vivekananda, I left him deeply impressed by his words and his personality. He seemed to have emptied my brain of all its feverish complexities and placed there instead his clear and calming thoughts. I became once again vivacious and cheerful, thanks to the effect of his powerful will. Even today, when we are scalded from within by the sheathing feverish complexities, and take up any collection of Swamiji's utterances and read a few, we can feel how invariably the fever is assuaged and mental health restored. They give a shot in the arm, as it were, shot in the arm of strength and courage. Mrs. Ella Wheeler Wilcox, one of the famous poetess of her times, records her impression of Swamiji when she went to meet him with her husband. When the lecture was over, we went out with new courage, new hope, new strength, new faith to meet life's vicissitudes. Sometimes after sleepless nights of worry and anxiety, the man, that is her husband, would go with me to hear the Swami lecture, and we would come out into the winter gloom and walk down the street smiling. And he would say, "Oh, it is all right. There is nothing to worry over." And I would go back to my own duties and pleasures with the same uplifted sense of soul and enlarged vision. That was Swami Vivekananda. Once, Nivedita was requested by someone to write his life. Sister Nivedita was very close to Swami Vivekananda. She was very intelligent and extremely good writer. But she said, "I am unable to write his life. How little I know about him. Of course, I can try to write what I understood about him, the fragment of his life." And she did write the book called "The Master as I Saw Him." Beautiful writing by Sister Nivedita. When Sister Christine was asked to say about Swami Vivekananda, she says he was such a huge personality. To say about him everything we need to, I feel like adding superlative, greatest, highest, biggest, extraordinary. Even those words seem to less than qualifying to actually describe his personality. That was the greatness of Swami Vivekananda. Swamiji himself said, "I shall inspire men everywhere until the world shall know that it is one with God. It may be that I shall find it good to get out of my body, to cast it off like a worn-out garment, but I shall not cease to work." And Swamiji works still. We all feel Swamiji's work continues. His inspiration remains as powerful. Nobel laureate, French savant, and literature expressed his feelings about Swamiji after 30 years of Swamiji's passing away. His words are great music, phrases in the style of Beethoven, stirring rhythms like the march of Handel choruses. I cannot touch these sayings of his, scattered as they are through the pages of books at 30 years distance, without receiving a thrill through my body like an electric shock. And what shock, what transport must have been produced when in burning words they issued from the lips of the hero. What message of Swami Vivekananda inspires us? Swamiji's letters, his books, his lectures, his life. Everything is so inspiring. He could, as it were, make a dumb speak, a dead person be brought to life. He could turn stark atheist and non-believer into staunch believer in spirituality. He could give light and sunshine where there was darkness and gloom. When Jesus said, Lazarus come forth, and dead Lazarus just woke up. Like that is Swamiji's message. He can just change a human personality altogether. A lazy person will become active and working. An active person will become calm and peaceful by getting in touch with the message of Swami Vivekananda. His message, he himself said, can be put into a few words: to preach unto mankind their divinity. To preach unto mankind their divinity, and how to manifest that in every moment of their life. He was so aware of the divinity of every human being, just he wanted that everyone should realize that and manifest that divinity of the soul in every moment of their life. Swami Vivekananda preached immortal, strength-giving wisdom of the Upanishads in modern and understandable language. He spoke of strength and courage. He said the Upanishads are the great mine of strength. Once, he was so fond of this strength and courage. Once in a camp in California, Swamiji went with some disciples and asked them to meditate. And he says, now meditate for some time. You meditate on whatever thing you like, on God, on yourself, on Atman, on anything you like. But you know what I am going to meditate? I am going to meditate on the heart of a lion. Strength, courage, that was his thing, always. He said that Upanishads, what they speak, Aham Brahmasmi, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, what is the basis of that? What we get from this message is fearlessness, courage, strength. He says that it comes like a warm cell, the fearlessness. No other scripture ever talked about the fearlessness as Upanishads say. And he said, my mission is to make you that fearless by making you understand your divinity and manifesting that divinity in every moment of your life. That was his purpose of life, that he says. He was so full of hope-giving. It is not he who said, there is no sin, there can be some mistake, but there is no sin. It is a sin to call a man sinner. Ye divinities on earth, sinners, ye are children of immortal bliss. It is a sin to call a man sinner. You are not a sinner, another person is not a sinner. There may be some mistakes, but mistakes, stumbling, bleating, falling down, they are the poetry of life, he says. Without committing mistake in life, how life is so great, that are inevitable. Cows do not tell lies, walls do not steal, but they remain cows and walk throughout their life. Man steals, man tells lies. But it is that very man who will become divine in nature, who will realize divinity, who has the power to realize that divinity. So little wrong, little mistake, little stumbling, once falling down, that is nothing. He says, try to be good and do good. You fail. If you fail 1,000 times, then try once more. Never give up. And he says, you have that power to do. All power is in your soul. when Swamiji says this thing, he says from conviction, from realization. And people who listen or who read, they feel that, yes, that power is in me, and I can nurture and harness that power. True worship, he said, is the worship of humankind. Religion is the manifestation of divinity already in man. He taught about the glory of human nature. Never forget, he exclaimed, the glory of human nature. We are the greatest God that ever was or ever will be. We are the greatest God that ever was or ever will be. Christs and Buddhas are but waves on the boundless ocean which I am. The real I, which is infinite consciousness, infinite power, infinite wisdom, infinite bliss. Swami says, be aware of that. And if you are able to be aware of the infinite power, that is your source, you will gain that power. If you want any good to come, just throw your ceremonials overboard and worship the living God, the man God, every being that wears a human form, God in his universal as well as individual aspect. Every man and woman is the palpable, blissful, living God. What a position he gives to man and woman, equal to God, because God resides in every heart. Everything in the universe is yours. Stretch out your arms and embrace it with love. If you ever felt you wanted to do that, stretching arms and embracing the whole universe, if you ever felt you wanted to do that, you have felt God. If there is a God, we must see Him. If there is a soul, we must perceive it. Otherwise, it is better not to believe. Hold on to the ideal. March on. Do not look back upon little mistake and things. In this battlefield of ours, the dust of mistakes must be raised. Those who are so thin-skinned that they cannot bear the dust, let them go out of the ranks. Work, mistakes will be there, but those are the dust that will be raised in the battlefield of life. You have everything, nay, you are everything. If a king goes mad and runs about trying to find the king of his country, he will never find him because he is the king himself. It is better that we know we are God. Play like the actor who comes upon the stage and plays the part of a beggar. He is not a beggar, so we all are playing a role what we are playing. In reality, we are all divine, having come to this world to play our role. World not a prison but a playground. Give up all these mad pursuits and then play your part in the universe as an actor on the stage. The whole scene will change, and instead of an eternal prison, this world will appear a playground. Instead of a land of competition, it will be a land of bliss. Our search for God is in reality a search after our real nature. Father, mother, brother and sister, friend and child are our own soul playing with us. How beautiful words. Unity with everyone. In Bible it is said, if you cannot love your brother whom you have seen, how can you love God whom you have not seen? So love for all, knowing them to be our own soul. No form of worship is error. Then what about? He said, make everyone as God. Every human face is God's face. What about the ritualistic worship? Did he deny that? No. No form of worship is error. It is journey from truth to truth, from lower to higher truth. Darkness means less light. Evil means less good. Impurity means less purity. So much of positivity in Swamiji's thought. He says, when you see wickedness, imperfection, wrong in other persons, weep. He said, weep for yourself. That why you are still bonded to see this wickedness in the world. Why can't you see God instead of that? That means there is something wrong, not in the world you see, not in the person you perceive, but in yourself, that you are not able to see God everywhere. Why do I see wickedness? There is really no difference between matter, mind and spirit. They are only different phases of experiencing the one. This very world is seen by the five senses as matter, by the very wicked as hell, by the good as heaven, and by the perfect as God. See God in every person, working through all hands, walking through all feet, and eating through every mouth. In every being he lives, through all minds he thinks. He is self-evident, nearer to us than ourselves. To know this is religion, is faith. May it please the Lord to give us this faith. When we shall feel that oneness, we shall be immortal. Stand up then. This is the highest worship. You are one with the universe. That alone is humility, not crawling upon all fours and calling yourself a sinner. Say, I am the Spirit. What is this trifle to me? I am the Spirit. Sri Ramakrishna, during his conversation, as recorded in Gospel on June 25, 1884, says, a worthless man may talk his head off preaching, and yet he will produce no effect. But people will listen to him if he is armed with a badge of authority from God. One cannot teach others without the commission from God. A teacher of men must have great power, and that power was in Swami Vivekananda. That power is in his words. That power is in his likeness. When we are weak, low, just we read some of his message or approach his photograph and pray to him, we feel strength coming to us. Lillian Montgomery had attended a lecture by Swami Vivekananda in New York in 1900. She, in her memoir, recorded 50 years later, says, Swami entered by a side door, and immediately I knew that there was something extraordinary about him. He was very unassuming, very calm, but there was something about that presence that you could not take eyes off of him. He fascinated you. And as he sat in the chair, his head was perfectly poised, and power seemed to emanate from it. I was fascinated. Eventually, he rose to speak, and the voice was extraordinary. It was mellow, resonant, but possessing a great purity. And as he spoke, veils just seemed to fall off from your eyes, because he gave you an entirely different impression of personality as he was speaking of the relationship of the individual to the divinity. I remember, as I looked at him, it seemed to me that there was an ocean of consciousness back of him, and in some way there was no limit to his personality, and this ocean of consciousness focused and flowed through his words. Every word he spoke was a revelation, because he brought with it the realization he was living. At one time, as I listened, I seemed to sense that if this form of his vanished, that a light which was shining through it would stay there forever, that it would never disappear. That light is still there, that power is still there, that inspiration is still there, no, not diminished at least. And when we approach, we gain that power, because the power of Swamiji's message was the power of